Was he going to zoom in too?
No, he didn't say so. All right, everyone want to
I
get
don't
their
know
mics
either.
on? All right, I would like to call the Monday, February 24th City Council meeting to order. Roll call. Councilor Bagley is absent and all other councilors are present. Councilor Kelly is joining us via Zoom this evening. Deputy Mayor Smith, would you like to do the invocation this evening?
Absolutely. Everybody, please join me in being the attitude of prayer. We pray for our country at all times, that all citizens are safe, healthy, and happy. We pray for wisdom for all those who guide and govern. Help this government body in every situation to know and to do the things that are right and just with soundness of judgment in making vital decisions. We pray for the peacemakers, that the holy life-giving spirit may ever dwell in their hearts, and the barriers of fear, suspicion, and hatred may fall. This we pray to the Holy Father. Amen.
Amen. So everybody would please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item number 4 is a declaration of any conflict of interest. Is there any counselor who would like to declare that this evening? Seeing none. Item number 5 is public forum. Is there anybody from the public who wishes to speak this evening? Danielle, did you have anyone send anything in?
No.
Okay. Wow, zipping right through here. Item number 6 are minutes, and we do have minutes from the regular meetings held on July 22nd, September 23rd, and February 10th of 2025. Anybody have any discussion on those?
Move slate.
Got a motion to move the slate?
Second.
Second, further discussion? Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, item number 7 is bid openings, awards, and appointments, and 7A is to declare March of 2025 Brain Injury Awareness Month. This is on page 20 of your packets. So the Caribou City Council has been asked to proclaim March 2025 as Brain Injury Awareness Month in Caribou. The proclamation is included in the packet, and I'll read that in just a couple of minutes. Pamela J. Searles, Neurorehabilitation Services Manager at the Center for Integrated Neuro Rehab, located at 159 Bennett Drive, Suite 1 in Caribou, has asked that we send along her thanks to the Caribou City Council and the Caribou community for supporting the AMHC Center for Integrated Neuro Rehab. So I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation. It says, whereas 2.8 million Americans, children, and adults sustain a traumatic brain injury each year, and whereas a traumatic brain injury is a contributing factor to 1/3 of all injury-related deaths in the United States, and whereas these injuries are largely the result of motor vehicle crashes, falls, assaults, sporting-related injuries, or occupational injuries, and whereas traumatic brain injury is the signature injury of the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, presenting new challenges for members of the military and their families, and whereas an injury that happens in an instant can bring a lifetime of physical, cognitive, and behavior challenges, and whereas early, equal, and adequate access to care will greatly increase overall quality of life and will enable individuals to return home, school, work, and community, and whereas family members, friends, and members of this community can play a central role in enhancing the lives of our citizens with traumatic brain injury, And whereas the Center for Integrated Neuro Rehab, a division of AMHC, offers education and support to families and individuals with traumatic brain injury with community integration and to live as independently as possible. And whereas March has been designated as Brain Injury Awareness Month by the Brain Injury Association of America to promote public awareness on the extent, causes, consequences, treatment, and prevention of traumatic brain injury. And now therefore, be it resolved that the Caribou City Council fully support and do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Brain Injury Awareness Month and call upon all citizens to observe the contributions, by offering special recognition to the Center for Integrated Neuro Rehab for its invaluable contributions to assist families and individuals with traumatic brain injury. And we encourage the citizens of Caribou to seek information on traumatic brain injury. All right. Do we need to vote to instate this proclamation?
I think so. I didn't put that on your memo.
Yeah, I think we do.
I'll
What
make a
are the
motion that
wishes?
we support it.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Further discussion? Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item number 7B pertains to the Caribou Municipal Airport and the snow removal equipment bids received on February 20th of 2025. This is on page 22 of your packets. And Penny, did you want to share information with us on this?
Dave, would you like to share information with us?
Well, Dave, come on up.
I haven't turned it on yet. It's just a little button on the top. Green light comes on.
Can we check that?
Do you want this, Dave?
No, I do
Or-
not.
no, okay.
Nope. So the airport went to bid through Stantec for some new equipment at the airport. The equipment that is there is about 20, almost 21 years old. It is a John Deere 624. We have a snow blower for it, we have a plow, and that's it. So this time around, I made the recommendation for the new equipment, obviously, but we're also going to include a broom. There are times when I have to keep the runways closed because the runways get a coating of hard pack from the equipment running over it, and there's not a lot of activity there, but when it is, it's life flight. It's really important to try to keep that open as much as we can. So we decided to put a broom in with it. As you can see, the bids come back: Beauregard at 501, Milton Cat at 320, United at 506, almost 507, and then M&B Companies at 1 million. And although it'd be really nice to have that $1 million piece of equipment, we all know that that's not going to happen. There is potential problems with the Milton Cat. It's not my recommendation that we do that one. There's a reason why it's $180,000 less.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so right in the snow blower itself, what they quoted was a hydraulically driven snow blower. Yeah.
Not with the pony motor.
No pony motor.
Just a hydraulic.
Just a hydraulic.
I'm
So-
familiar with those.
Yeah, and you know, hydraulics is a fantastic thing. It works great in hydraulic cylinders, but it doesn't work good in motors.
No, especially when it binds up.
So I would highly recommend and I think there's other problems with that we won't talk about tonight, but because I do not have no history with Case whatsoever, didn't want to be biased, I actually took a trip to go look at one. Very well put together machine, and they are the next in line.
Right.
The John Deere that came from United, it is a little bit more money, but it's two sizes smaller than what we currently have at the airport. And I don't know if any of you have ever gone by to see what that does up there when the wind blows, but you really don't want that small of equipment. And I do have some concerns that it being so small, that when you pick that blower up, that it's going to be really tip heavy, and I worry about traction. So tonight, I would like to ask you to accept the Beauregard bid if you choose to do something for the airport equipment.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Is there a limit on this grant? I mean, did they give you a limit?
No, so when we went out to bid, the bids was really not a concern.
I mean, as far as the 95%, if the FAA grant is going to pay 95%, up to what amount?
They'll cover this, no problem. That's within the
So would they
scope.
cover 95% of the $1 million?
No, I
That's
think-
what I'm asking, is how much, what is the cap?
It won't go that high, plus our 2.5% match is more than I want to spend.
Well,
know what I
but I,
mean?
you know where
Yeah.
my mind is going with that. I mean, if you're ever gonna get a piece of equipment like that and you've got somebody paying 95%, that would be the only time that I could really, I would push for it now at 95%, but you know, that's why I was asking the
Right.
question.
So thank you for asking, and
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, I really do. But as I stand here as your public works director, we don't need $1 million piece of equipment at our airport.
Okay,
So, and if there wasn't a history of a few problems with both the pieces of equipment we have, I would say hold off. But to give you a rough idea, so our 2.5%, it's gonna be what, $10,000-$12,000?
Yeah.
I can tell you that when I need to buy a set of tires for that loader, they're $15,000 to $16,000 for the 4 tires. We should jump on this deal.
totally.
And even then, I still think that we will not have that for next winter. Yeah, so keep in mind, the dealer has to order a loader from the manufacturer, has to order a snow blower from a different manufacturer,
Okay.
has to order a plow from a different, and then same with, you know, the broom. That all lands at their facility. Then they have to go to work to put all that stuff so that everything attaches and works. And so just for example, the blower's not too bad because it's really just a large 24 conductor wire that goes up inside the cab. You have quick disconnects, kind of like an extension cord, but on a 24 pin model. But you have to mount that box. It has to be in a place where it's not in the rest of the controls or the safety factors of it. The broom will come as a universal broom, and they'll buy what's called a set of hooks that matches the attachment, the quick attach. Then will have to be fabricated on the broom, on the plow, and then hydraulics run. So a dealer could have that. If he had all the pieces there, that could take them a month or more just to get that all together. So I'm not positive, maybe Penny knows, but this money, this has to go to the FAA to be approved first.
So the grant paperwork is due March 3rd. So that's why we're meeting with Seth on Teams or whatever tomorrow.
Yeah, and I talked to Seth today as well. I
Oh,
had
okay.
been over the weekend,
Yeah.
and I really didn't want to have to travel that far, but I really, I told him, I said, I don't spend $500,000 on anything unless I can rub the side and say, oh, you're going to be a good girl. So that's what I did today. But I was pleased, and in our capital stuff, and I'm sure we'll go over it tonight, but I mean, I put in money for us to buy a backhoe. So while I was there, I actually looked at our backhoes.
Very nice.
Killed 2 birds with one stone.
Yeah.
Any
Nice.
questions about the airport equipment?
Do you have a question?
Yeah, so when that's gonna come all installed, they're gonna have the broom, the quick attach, so when you get it, lands at your place,
Yeah.
blower, broom, plow, quick
Yeah.
attach, all the hydraulics.
So
Part of the deal.
the one thing that's different is the airport. The airport has no manufacturing, they have no abilities, and there is no mechanism in place to say, okay, we'll let Public Works put that all together and we can lose the 2.5%. That's not an option.
Right.
So for the airport, it's just turn the key and it's done and over with.
Now, the only question I have is, and I think you kind of covered this, and I'm just asking you to repeat it so I get it.
Sure.
We're talking about this, is it gonna come with the broom and the snow blower at the same time attached, or are we talking about having to drop the snow blower to put the
It
broom
will
on?
be quick
Okay, no,
disconnect.
that's, I
Yeah.
thought that's what you
Yeah.
said, I just wanted to make sure.
Plow, we have never used the broom, but it's my understanding that some airports are even sweeping, just sweeping up to 3-4 inches of snow.
Yeah, if it's light.
And then there are no compaction from the weight of the machine and,
Yeah.
you know. It's gonna be, and I've explained this to Penny too, but if we plow And then, so I say we, I'm talking about the airport employee that,
Right.
okay? He'll have a little more time involved because even if you plow, because it was 6 inches, and then you go and you sweep it after, there'll be some extra time in sweeping. And then you'll actually have the added cost of the brooms wear out, that's a wear item, you
Right.
know? And it's not like every 2 years, I suspect you might have to replace them mid-season. That I'm not sure of, because we've never broomed to that extent, especially on
Right.
an airport.
Right.
But there will be some added expense, but the added benefits is, if we can keep our runways open more.
Well-
What I have been doing.
It's less, but what you're suggesting is less destructive. You know,
Oh, sure.
if you think about it, you know, normally when we snow blow or plow, there's always a potential to lift chunks of the runway, especially if it's in a deteriorating status. Whereas with the broom, the pressure on the runway is almost non-existent. So you're actually, in a way, indirectly adding a little life back to the runway.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, the runways are fairly new, they're in
Mhm.
really good shape, so there's no, and the thickness that when it was put in, it's huge amount.
Okay.
So we really don't worry about the rip out or the tear
Okay.
outs. And even when the surface was put on, it was backfilled all around the edges, clear up to it, so you're not ripping that away all the time.
Oh, okay, so you have a decent structured apron
Yeah,
and
we have,
stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
and the airport has got a fantastic, I mean, there are showing some wears of wheel ruts, and you
Mhm.
can see it when you plow, because the low spots stay white,
Right.
whereas the high spots are scraped, and that's where we're hoping that a broom will broom that stuff
Like
out of
that,
there.
yep.
I am the only one in the city of Caribou that puts NOTAMs at the airport. So, if you do a runway condition, you actually have to do each runway 3 different positions.
Mhm.
And even though that same runway goes the other way, it's 1 going this way and it's 19 coming this way, so you have 2 NOTAMs for each runway. And if you do a conditions report, it automatically has to be updated or self-cancels after 24 hours.
Right.
I have not seen anything fix itself in 24 hours. So what I've been doing the last 2 years or so is I close them 2 runways, but I leave the airport open, so if Life Flight needs to come with a helicopter, they can still land
Sure.
up there. I really much would like to be able to keep that airport open more, because guess what? You never know when, I mean, a Life Flight might not come for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden it's 3 times in 1 week.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I mean, the tenants that we have in the hangars, with the exception of one, he has a twin, but the rest are all single engine. They come in at 45 and land at 45, 50 miles an hour. And when they take off, I'm not sure they're even going that fast. But I'm gonna tell you, if you ever get an opportunity to see a Life Flight, that twin prop land, it's 100+ miles an hour.
Yep.
So when I try to assess the runways, I try to make sure that the city's not responsible for a multi-million-dollar plane, not to mention someone getting hurt. I mean, them things are coming in hot. And I'm really in great hopes that a broom, now the broom will be hydraulically driven off from the loader. But that's a small amount of friction compared to a snowblower
Yeah.
trying to throw 125 feet away.
It's not a lot of opposing torque they'll be following.
No, that's right.
All right.
And we
So,
ha- I'm
in,
so- oh, I'm sorry.
go right ahead.
How much is in that FAA account? We have some money in that account, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Quite a
yeah.
bit.
I'm sure we can find it on the financials that are in here.
Oh, yeah, we have that report in the back here, right?
Yeah.
We do. I'll ask and answer my own question here in 1 second. Carl probably knows where it
See
is
if
faster
Carl
than I
finds
do.
it faster
Carl,
than the rest
Carl,
of
where are
us.
you, Carl?
171,000.
107. So we got plenty of money in there for that. For the 2.5% is all it is, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's a
that's-
95 and then a 2.5 and
Yeah.
2.5. And
Yeah.
I mean, it just
That's a really,
makes
I mean, that's a
sense.
really good deal for us.
Sure is.
We had
Yeah.
we had a breakdown a couple of years ago with it, and it destroyed the differential in it. That differential cost $28,000 to replace. Why would we not want to spend $12,000 buying a
No
machine?
kidding. I know, a whole new machine for that price. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what are the wishes of the council on moving forward with this grant application?
I would say that we make a motion to authorize the city manager, Penny Thompson, to apply for the FFA grant to purchase the vehicle that selected the case and attachments for use at the Caribou Municipal Airport.
I second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith? Terrio?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, item number 7C has to do with the acceptance of a housing opportunity grant, and that was for a housing study to be completed. Penny, did you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So last February, the Caribou Development Committee held a housing symposium to gain a greater understanding of the current challenges with housing, including workforce and middle housing, are in the community. It was open to the community and produced a lot of general feedback. This was followed by a roundtable with those involved in real estate, contracting, and development. One key takeaway from the meetings was that Caribou needed to have a housing inventory within the city of Caribou and develop a detailed housing action plan. It just so happened that at that time, the DECD had this Housing Opportunity Program grant open. So we applied for that in March of '24, and we heard in October of '24 that the city was notified by DECD that the city had a high-scoring application. And then on February 20th, the attached contract was received, and it was sent to Attorney Rick Solomon for review. And we have had a couple of members of staff look at it also.
Okay. What are the wishes of the council?
So the application is in here, the contract is in here. We'll have to go out for, a public bid on someone to do the housing study, and the city would have to accept that contract too. When we applied for the grant, you'll see that we used, as a match, staff time, so. And we've done that with other grants. Like MBRC, every time that I work on that or another member of staff does, I just note that time so we can apply that as a match towards the grant.
I'll make a motion to authorize City Manager Penny Thompson to execute the service contract with the State of Maine Department of Economic and Community Development.
Second.
It's like all in one breath. That was good.
I don't think there could have been more words. I think I'd have fallen short there, but yep.
Further discussion? Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. Don't have any public hearings this evening, so we'll hop down to item number 9 on the agenda, which is reports by staff and committees. And first up is our Finance Director, Carl Grant, to present the financial report for January. Welcome, Carl.
Thank you. Evening, Mayor, Councilors, Manager Thompson. The notes for the financials are on page 55. I'll be starting on page 56. January assets through the end of January were $14,336,866.35. Cash on hand ended at $7,422,932.02. 2024 tax receivables, 3/4 of the way down the page, we collected $43,226.29 in January, leaving a balance of $861,235, and we've collected about 91.3% of the total commitment for 2024, and that's about 3/10 lower than the same time last year. We also collected $33,459.15 towards prepayments for 2025. We're now at $86,711.03. On the next page, liabilities, we're at $9,463,250.49. Moving over to page 61, the fund balance ended at $4,873,615.41. Moving over to page 63 is our expenses for the month of January. They came in at $877,570.27. We are doing comparisons to last January. Last January was at $791,868.72. So we have increased our expenses from last year to this year by 10.8%. Moving over to revenues on page 68. The revenues for January came in at $666,036.84. Compared to last January, they were at $559,530.49. We've increased our revenues from last year to this year by 19%. Excise came in at $123,832.78. That is up $20,000 or 19.5% compared to last January. Revenue sharing came in at $233,042.46. Compared to last year, that's up almost $41,000, but percentage-wise, it's about 21.3% higher than last January. And the graph for the month is cash. So everything is basically following suit from month to month. The last time I reported to you was June of last year. I'm sorry, I think it was June or July. So I filled those months in and put in January. We're just over about 30,000 or 300,000 compared to last January. We're at 7.4. Last year we were at 7.1. That's my report, unless somebody has any questions.
Anybody have questions? Yep, go ahead.
I know we have our 2021 relief funds and our 2025 45603. Do we know what the carryover is from 2023?
I gave that to Penny.
Yeah.
I don't have that right off the
We
top
don't
of
have it
my
right off
head.
that, but we're going to
But
get
I do have it.
it. You do have it, okay, that's fine. Send it an email, fine with me.
Yep.
Question on that. That's all I have.
Okay. Any other questions?
So that's the lapsed appropriations
lapsed
from
appro-
2023.
2023, yes, correct.
Okay, what are the wishes of the council?
Move to accept the financials as presented.
Second. Oops, sorry.
A motion and a second, further discussion? Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Carl.
Thanks.
And number 9B was the Caribou Development Committee Liaison Report. Councillor Bagley is not with us this evening, but you do all have a copy of that in your packets. So I would say if anyone has any questions or comments, you can certainly send those to Councillor Bagley. Item 9C is the Capital Expense Budget Committee Report, and that starts on page 77 of your packets. Deputy Mayor Smith, did you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I can talk about it. We had the opportunity to meet again last week. All three of us, we have made some recommendations, which are in the packet. We identified some pretty heavy cuts in the capital budget to keep this down. As always, we're going to bring this is going to come back to the council for approval, or this isn't set in stone. This is just a recommendation that the three of us, Councilor Terrio and Councilor Kelly. Some of the things we could talk about in here, I guess, I guess we can talk about one of the big things. We're going to see that ladder one, we removed that. We're going to investigate leasing on that at the point if we need that.
Good.
We're not trying to get anybody out with some equipment. Something else that was brought up too, and I haven't gotten to the point yet, we'd like to have some inspections done with some of this equipment by a third party, with no council or staff involved, to give us some really, we need to know what we're doing here as we go ahead on $500,000 purchases and $1 million purchases, and if we need it, then we can do it. A lot of this stuff was, we moved some stuff around back into the expense budget that was in here, and I guess if anybody has any questions, we can ask them now, or we wait to the public hearing, so everybody has the recommendations here.
No.
For the full council. I don't know, but unless Penny has anything she'd like to add on that.
And Chief LaJoy is here too, if you have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions from the departments here on what we're doing with this, or?
This time.
What's that? Okay.
I don't have any at this time, no.
You have nothing at this time, so this will be brought to us for the public hearing, because as always, we have the three parts to vote on. So
Right.
we can vote on those individually. So there's a few of the justifications on that, and that's all I have to say as the chair of that committee.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. This is a lot of good information, that's for sure. Very thorough. Okay, item number 90 is our city manager's report.
So you have in your packet updates on different grants that we're working on. This was an update from the beginning of February. I'll have a lot of new updates for March, because there's been a lot of work done on several of these projects over the last week. And in the spreadsheet for the manager's report, the riverfront power plants, the EPA CERCLA division will be demobilizing soon. Project funding runs out on March 14th. We also expect to receive an updated fact sheet and a deconstruction plan as part of the project. The Ogren Dump Solar Project, staff is working with the owner on the ground lease payments and DEP requirements for decommissioning. The Riverfront Master Plan, the draft environmental assessment was accepted by the MBRC in accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, and the 30-day comment period has passed. They have requested an additional monitoring and compliance mitigation plan, which we are currently working on. And for other administrative projects, that during school vacation, the Nylander Museum held Dino Days, and Director Baldwin is here if you have any questions about that. But I hear it was very well received and very well attended.
Quick question, how many people came through the doors, would you say?
On the first day, even the snow and all that stuff, we had over 60.
Nice.
So, pretty good.
Good,
Wow.
great.
Big hit. The police station, the committee continues to meet with the design team to meet the deadlines that the council has set for the construction, the bid documents. The comp plan update, the planning board is meeting on Thursday. This is a meeting that was rescheduled on the 13th, which we had a snowstorm. And so at the next meeting, I'll have an update from that. But at this meeting, we do have staff that's going to be providing some updates on the comp plan. I'm very happy to say that James Gardner, who was most recently the town manager in Easton, is going to be working with us, since we don't have a full-time code officer, to help us get the comp plan and some other projects across the finish line. So he'll be here at the meeting, and he has been doing great things working with Karen Gorman, who's also on staff, working on the comp plan to just tie everything together, get it to the planning board, have a public hearing, bring it to the city council so we can get that submitted to the state and move on to more projects. And that is my report, unless anyone has any questions.
I just have a quick question on the streetlights, my favorite topic.
Go ahead.
Parking lots is good.
Have you heard anything about how the progress is going with
I
that?
have not, but I can certainly check into that with R.L. Todd.
Perfect, thank you.
I did see they were working here today in this alley.
All
What were they
right,
working on, do we know?
I get to see.
Their truck was here for a good part of the day today.
I was
Big
thinking
deal.
about that today too.
yeah, see?
Good question.
We're on
We're
the
all on the
same
same,
page.
on the same
It
wavelength.
was over, they're right there at the bank, right? Yeah, I saw the truck.
Oh, they were at the bank.
Did you have a question as
No,
well?
no, I didn't.
Oh,
I
okay.
was just,
Oh, they were? Yeah.
Yes.
Good,
Good
good,
happening
good.
here
Sounds like
today.
things are happening.
They repaired all the architectural lights downtown 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I know that they were starting there, so.
Good, good, all right.
Nice.
Okay, item number 10 is new business ordinances and resolutions, and 10A is a returning discussion on adopting a resolution to adopt a code of conduct. So I guess we can kind of open things up to discussion on that again. We did receive some information from Manager Thompson. I think you all have that as an additional document with your packet.
Right.
I don't know if people had a chance to take a look at that and any thoughts that anyone on the council might have about that packet.
I think it's something we just need to get, we need to get something passed. I mean, when we adopted this into law, we really had a deadline set that we've kind of passed, and we keep kind of pushing it forward. So I think that we probably should just get something kind of moved. And this is broad, but concise, if that makes sense. You know, it covers all the topics, I think. And I think maybe it would be a good starting point. And maybe next year, if we need to narrow it down a little more, we could do that.
Because yeah, exactly, because it would be up to
Right.
each individual council if
Yes.
they want
I
to. This would
think-
be approved
Yeah.
every
Every year,
January,
yeah, every
and if
single
they
year,
want the
yep.
tweaking, I
Yeah,
agree
I-
with the
I
fact
thought
to
this
get
looked
based.
good.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
too.
I
I
thought
mean,
so
it's a good base, and you
I
know,
think
if you want to
I
change.
think it's broad enough to handle anything that comes up and still give us room for interpretation and setting forward, but it's specific enough to go, hey, that's not the way we do business. So I agree, it's solid. I can support this.
I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Do you just need a consensus on this for us
Well,
to have a
do you want me to,
resolution at the
well,
next
do you want me
meeting?
to bring it back, like, under our resolutions for next meeting, where it wasn't like in the packet for everybody, or did you wanna, I mean, if you wanna pass it tonight, you can.
I
I'm
don't
just-
have a
should.
problem with
I
passing it
think we
tonight
should pass it
personally. I
tonight.
think it's fine
I
to
just
pass
don't
it.
have one that's like dated the right way,
Well,
that we could.
We can
Can we
get
get it
signatures
signed
next
Yeah,
time.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
that sounds good.
All right, would somebody like to
I
make
make
a motion?
that we pass as presented.
I'll give it a second.
Motion second, further discussion? All right, Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. There, we have a code of
Nice.
conduct. This is great.
Good job. Thank you, Penny.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
All right, and item 10B is a discussion of the 2025 municipal budget. You know, we've had some different presentations. I guess this is just an opportunity for anybody here tonight at the table to, or on Zoom, to ask any questions they might have or to give any feedback to Manager Thompson that they might have, so that will inform some of the work she does over the next week or so.
Yes. Counselor Terrio and I were talking before. I'm going to ask that this be inserted at this point in time. We were talking before the meeting started that, and I'm sure as everybody's aware, there was an incident in Washington DC between the governor of Maine and the president. And there was some things that were said, and I don't want to dwell on any part of those politics. But as the course of that, one of the things that was mentioned was that finances could and will be altered until certain things are achieved one way or the other. That's all I want to say about that. Having said that, I think I would rather be proactive. We agreed that it's better to be proactive than reactive. I think as pretty much the funding for what we need or the acquisitions have already in place. But I think while we're in this process, I think it would be beneficial for us to reach out to like the department heads and of course the Penny, and to see how much this could affect us so that we can be proactive going forward. I would like to know how much this has the chance to affect like Section 8 housing. How much federal funding does the fire department play with? How much does the police department get? How much does public works get? You know, we all understand that we only control a very small portion of the taxes that's set by state and as well as, you know, federal money. And I think since we're all dealing with the numbers now, while the books are open, let's go ahead and kind of sort of get those numbers as we go along. It doesn't have to be presented, we don't have to beat feet on it, we don't have to be in a panic mode, but I think the citizens of Caribou would appreciate that we're looking out for their interests by saying, hey, these programs could be further affected. And if we have to make adjustments or plans, then we'll be in a better position to do so. I really don't want to be in a reactive mode where we have to scramble back through and find numbers and hope for the best. I mean, unfortunately, it hurts, and I apologize to all the department heads, but you guys got the books open. Now's a good time to do this. So, that's the only thing I would ask.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense to know what we're kind of doing, well, as best we can. I mean,
Yeah,
we
there's
aren't
not gonna be
sure,
a
but as
plan,
best
you know,
we
it's
can.
way too early for that, but
And
I
it
think it'd be.
doesn't have to be exact,
Right.
just to, you know,
Yeah.
something they'll say, well, geez, you know, we're planning on 100,000, and are we gonna get this or whatever? We don't know because
Yeah.
it's like this, and, you know, it changes day to day, so at least we could be prepared to.
You know, make better decisions going forward. I mean, come on,
Have
let's
an
face it,
idea.
you know, agreed. If we're gonna see you know, if we're seeing 100,000 and all of a sudden, A, it's not there, or we're only gonna get 10, I would really like to know how to prepare before we actually get in that mud puddle. You know,
Yeah, just basically, we're talking about a revenue budget on this point, because that could change.
Absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely.
It's no different than reimbursement for Medicaid, which is basically state or federal, or profit sharing, revenue sharing, excuse me, any of that. There's a lot of variables there. And if that
Yeah.
moves by a few percentage points, we know how much that can affect our budget. So I
Sure.
think that's where you're going with that.
Yes, absolutely, because
You
one
know,
of the
that,
things.
the things that there's a lot of
Well-
variables in our revenue.
Right, but you're right, Jody, because one of the things that did come out is in Governor Mills' tax proposals with the Medicaid shortfall, she's talking about writing IOUs to hospitals. And I don't know about you, but I cannot think of one single business anywhere in the world that will accept IOUs and still make payroll, still order supplies. This is something, and I'm not trying to put anybody in a panic mode, it's way too early for any of that stuff. But it's not early for us to start looking to see what could be coming later on down the road. I would much rather say, you know what, as a group, we sat around and looked at those numbers. Yep, this is how we're gonna go.
Plan
We're
on
gonna go
this
left, right, you know, we got this covered. I don't wanna be sitting here going, oh my God, what do we do now?
Well, in the Department of Education too.
Yes.
That was a big one that,
Correct,
Yeah,
to-
for sure.
it sounded to me like was gonna get hit, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff,
Very well
so.
could be.
For sure.
So, yeah, I would rather, I mean, while the books are open, I just think it makes perfect sense to, A, protect ourselves, B, get prepared, and, you know, show the citizens of Caribou that, you know, we're working. You know, we're trying to ensure the best outcome that they and we need. So that's my only suggestion.
Well, I think one of my bigger concerns too would be that, and I don't know if I would have this correct, but if for some reason education funding would be cut, we would still be obligated to cut a check for education funding, would we not? Should the voters vote in the RSU budget. So we would really, really need to get some education out in front of those voters if that education piece was cut federally, because we would be entirely on the hook to cut a check for that. So again, I know that you've been doing a really good job about educating people about what we can control from this area in this arena, but that would be one of those areas that would be greatly impactful to the community should that be cut. And again, I don't want to be, you know, this administration is very up and down, so I'm not going to, you know, sit there and comment on that right this minute. But as far as the things that we can control, we have a lot of stuff in front of us. And I think that, you know, looking at the capital expenses was a really good one. I loved the way that was looked at, and we can look at, you know, and be really mindful of those things. I know our department heads are really good about trying to weed out things. I think last year being a first-year counselor was eye-opening and at not over cutting things, because we can do that later on. So I'm going to be really careful not to do that. right off the bat, because obviously things can change as far as utility costs and things like that. And I know that our department heads are very resourceful about coming back and cutting later if they can, but that's just my 2 cents, but, yeah.
Go back to the, we can always cut the expense
We can
budget.
cut it later.
We can't once we vote on
We
it.
can't add it, yeah.
We can't add to it
Yeah,
unless written out.
We'll do a car wash.
Sure.
Manager Thompson, does that give you a little bit of direction?
No.
Clear as mud?
Go Penny.
So maybe
there's
if
nothing
you
there.
think that it would be helpful to get some information from department heads about things that might be funded, that could
Yeah, what-
potentially be in jeopardy of losing funding, that might be helpful. And
On the revenue side, but
Yeah, you
Yes,
know,
we're gonna look at it.
Yeah.
what comes from federal now that we receive, what comes from state, and what comes from us. I just think that's a realistic portrayal of the system. I don't think we need to react to it, we just need to know what those numbers are.
anyone else have anything further that they'd like Manager Thompson to look into pertaining to the budget?
I guess I think I've already mentioned, I'm not gonna be in favor of adding any new positions that we don't already have on the books from a year ago. I know there's been some requests for add some positions. I think we need to look very closely at that. There's some administrative ones and things that weren't positions that were not filled last year. I'm not suggesting we cut those, but I would not be in favor of adding any new positions until we're
I
you know,
agree
we
with you, Jody.
that we, oh, okay.
Where's this voice coming from? Hi, Jen.
Jennifer, yeah, sorry, you didn't see there. Yeah, so I'm just saying
Forgot
that
she
we,
was out
you know,
there
we
in
gotta,
space.
let's take care of what we have, or the best we can, and then, and not overstretch ourselves so that we add 2 or 3 positions and have to eliminate somebody else or pay them less, or, I hope you understand where I'm going with this.
Completely.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, so I
Yep.
really would not, anything that's added for this budget, I would not be in favor of. We could put it on the back burner, you know, and look at it later. So that's all I would put in there, and the rest of it, we'll have to look and see the rest of this comes in, so.
Are you including, like an assistant?
No, that was already, we've already,
Okay.
I'm suggesting.
New from now or whatever?
Now
Okay.
from January
Right.
1st, anything that's proposed new,
Okay,
not an unfilled
Right.
position, not an unfilled fire,
we have a
EMS,
few
not an
of
unfilled
those,
police
yeah,
officer.
'cause I
No,
wanna
any of
make sure
those,
that
any of
she
those
can get
positions
some
that are
help.
already
Yes.
factored in our budget.
Yeah.
But anything that's
Yeah,
a new
okay.
proposal is
Right.
what I'm
Yeah.
looking at, or what I'm suggesting, that we do not, that we look closely at
Yep.
before we fund those. And maybe we need them, but it's gonna have to be some big justification, because I don't wanna I don't want the council to have to go back and say, I don't know, what we have 74 employees or somewhere in that neighborhood. So if we get it up to 78, and go, geez, we can't. That's, I'll drop my voice on that, so. Thank you.
But we're okay to fill open positions. like
That's what
we're-
that's
we're
what-
hiring
that's what I'm-
a
For sure.
grade
Yeah.
Old
officer.
positions, not.
Yeah, no,
unfilled.
we
Absolutely.
definitely, we
Those
need
are
those
already
things
positions
filled.
that we
That's
have.
correct. Thank you.
development.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
clarifying.
We've been trying for a long time. We don't want to stop those
Yeah,
processes.
No.
There's several
Yeah.
open positions. so
Yeah.
Anything that's,
Yeah.
just try to do the best we
Okay.
can. That's all I have on that.
All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, we don't have any old business to discuss, but we do have reports and discussion by mayor and council members. Let's start with Councilor Kelly tonight.
How's Florida?
Hi, everyone. I don't have anything, thank you, but it was nice seeing you all on camera.
It was nice hearing you as well. Right. Councilor Lovewell?
I just want to mention that I just started on that Nylander board, and that everybody was really welcoming and accommodating. It's a really neat museum, so I was excited to hear that you guys did well for your Dino Days. And hi, Peter.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I already talked about it, most everything else earlier, but how about those Vikings?
You
I got
stole
you.
my comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gave me
Good one.
So I was downtown both times at 11:30 and 12:30, right right near,
In front of
next to your
us,
business.
yes.
Or right next to you, kind of in the Dollar General.
I would have handed you a flag.
But there was somebody across the road that, the person was dressed up like the Viking. Did
Oh,
you see
I
that over
didn't,
at,
I didn't.
55 in Maine?
Oh,
that's
I think They had the whole,
awesome.
like, but you couldn't really see him because of the snowbank. It was awesome. The police were there,
Yeah,
the
they did
escorts
good.
and the fire. And
We
then.
have to thank Public Works too, because they did a lot of snow removal.
Oh, yeah,
You did, I saw
Try
that,
to get
yeah.
ready too.
And
People to
then I see
stand.
later on social media that they picked him up at Presque Isle. So the
That
enemy,
was
your
so
enemy,
cool.
You know, is your friend, you know, that type of thing.
Really
So
neat.
hopefully they
I
can
think
get that.
is Madawaska going down too?
I think did they make the final round?
They lost.
Mars
Oh,
Hill,
did they?
Mars
Oh,
Hill's
it's
going
Mars
down.
Hill,
Those
okay.
six-
Yeah.
the
I knew
top-
there was
Six.
another county team, so Mars Hill.
There's
that's
2 or
great.
3 and there's some Class Ds, but still your Thunder keep going with it. Go get a couple gold balls.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Maybe I'll get down there.
Well,
Real
I
proud of
can
them.
add to it, because
Oh,
what I
go
would
ahead.
like to say is I think it would be great if we could invite them to our next council meeting and
Yeah.
kind of recognize them here, so we'll plan to put
Yes.
that on the agenda.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good, good.
It's been a long time. I hope they can,
Both of them.
win.
Both
They
good.
said 80s since the girls got.
84,
83?
83 or 4. Ladies
Yeah.
80s, whatever.
Wow. All right, that's all I had.
No,
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So our next regular meetings will be on March 10th and March 17th. Everyone wear green that day. We do not have any executive sessions on our agenda for this evening. So with that, what are the wishes of the council?
I make a motion that we adjourn and all go home where it's safe and sound.
Can't even believe this.
Sounds good. I second.
You sure? We could stay.
I mean, I think Jody wants us to stay.
I don't have to fly.
Further discussion? All right, Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Hi.
Smith?
Yes. aye.
Terrio? Watson?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries and meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening.
What kind of shortcut of meeting was that?
I know.
One that you write down in the history book.
No, she still say that.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks, Dave. That was quite a flying trip then, huh?
Yeah, I was too tired Saturday to go.
Yeah.
So I just said, I left this morning at 3:30. I was back by a little after 4.
Oh, yeah.
I printed these in case I needed them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might take tomorrow.
Yeah. You might want to. So that's a long day.
I've been getting more sleep than normal. Keith's been taking, yeah,